everyone, I hope you're all doing really well and welcome back to my podcast, Life of an Artrepreneur, and Happy New Year. This is the first day of 2025, big year ahead. This lighting is really not doing me any favours. Just got a massive line over my face I can't seem to get out of. But yeah, I can't believe we're in 2025. I feel like the period between Christmas, well actually the run up to Christmas, the period over Christmas and then get into this year has just gone so quick. It's just been a bit of a blur. All the days have just kind of merged into one. So as it's the 1st of January and the first day of 2025, I thought it's only right to kind of reflect back on the year of 2024, kind of go back over some of my goals, see what I achieved, see why I didn't achieve some others, see whether I'll be taking any of the same goals into 2025, and yeah, just have a bit of a reflection really. It took me so long to actually find the piece of paper where I wrote down all my goals for 2024. So if you're doing anything like that, either do it digitally or do it in the back of your planner or a book or something, because you can very easily lose it, and then I just think it's nice to look back on. So have it somewhere where you can constantly see it and constantly refer to it, and don't lose it like I did. But I guess seeing it now is a bit of a surprise because I've not actually read through this. I thought I'd leave it until I start filming this episode. So there's a range of things, to be honest, that I've wrote on here at the start of 2024. So what were some of my goals in 2024? The first one I actually put was start a podcast, and I've done that and literally filmed almost 40 episodes. So I guess I very much achieved that, which is great. And that's something that I'd love to continue to do. I know that I've mentioned that in other episodes and my vlogs and stuff, and quite a few of you, really enjoy listening to Life of an Artrepreneur every week. When it comes to the podcast, one thing that I want to do more of in 2025 is have more conversations with other artists, because I think you can learn so much from other people and listening to their journeys, how they've got to where they are, any advice they can give. I think that'll be really kind of valuable for people. So I'd love to have some more conversations with other artists and people that are kind of in this space. I feel like when it comes to goals, if you literally just write down the main thing that you want to achieve, the likelihood is you'll keep putting it off because you've not got the steps to get there to kind of achieve it. So although I put start a podcast in 2024, I wrote down the name here, Artrepreneur, and then I made a list underneath that. So I put name, equipment, for example, my light, the software that I use, my microphone, social media handles, and just kind of testing everything out before I actually launched it, preparing my first few episodes, kind of noting things down, planning the first few episodes that I'm going to do, and kind of structuring it a little bit until I got more confident just kind of talking more on the spot. So without those steps to get there, although it's kind of very simple, buying a microphone, setting up an Instagram page, thinking of a name, they all kind of mount up, and then before you know it, you're actually ready to start something. The next thing I put was focus more on email marketing, which I kind of feel like I have done, but more towards the back end of the year. Email marketing is such a good way to kind of target people who are interested in buying prints or originals, or in my case, tutorials to keep. It's a way to kind of almost segment your audience into those different categories of what they're interested in when it comes to what you do, which can really help to boost your sales because you're literally targeting those specific people. But I think generally it's just a good way for people to stay up to date with what you're doing. And I know some artists do a newsletter every week or every month, just kind of updating their audience on what's going on. And I guess you kind of do that on social media already, you show so much of what you do. But I guess an email kind of comes across more personal, and you're addressing that person specifically who is genuinely interested in what you're doing. That's why they've kind of signed up to your mailing list. But I definitely want to keep focusing more on that in 2025, and yeah, just kind of using it to my advantage really for sales, for keeping people updated. Even stuff like upcoming workshops, it just keeps people in the loop with what you're doing, because social media is so in your face with everything changing all the time that it's very easy to miss something. Another thing I put on my list is create a welcome video for Patreon. I literally put this on my list at the start of 2024 and I've still not done it. I've actually filmed it and I've edited it, but what I want to do is kind of incorporate little clips from my tutorials within the video. And it's only a 2-minute video, if that, but it's just finding the time to go and do that. I know that it actually won't take me that long, but because I'm such a perfectionist and I keep doing more and more tutorials, I think I could put that in, and I'm actually just not getting on with it, and I need to. So I think I should definitely do that within the next few days, or definitely this month, because I did want to give my whole Patreon just a bit of a revamp, really. Kind of go through all the tiers and update the descriptions and what I'm offering, because I've not done that in quite a while. The Patreon welcome video just wasn't really on the top of my priorities, so it just kind of didn't get done. So I definitely need to get on with that. The next thing I put was focus more on my website shop. And at the start of 2024, I had some originals that I needed to put on my website, which I've literally listed here to make sure I got them done at least, like added onto my shop, which was the rooster, the snowy owl and the robin, which I did along with all my other originals. However, since then, I've still got like all my newest ones to put on my website shop now. So I think that's going to be another job for this month, just to kind of update everything. I need to update my Patreon, my website shop, just my website in general. I feel like just needs a big rearrange. It's been the same for quite a while now. I think it's very much aimed at people who want pet portrait commissions, and if I'm trying to steer away from that slightly this year to focus more on like the teaching aspect, then I think my website should be like the main thing that people see when they go onto my website. So I think it just needs a bit of a revamp, but obviously all these things take so much time, so I definitely need to plan a lot of updating this month. The next thing I put was about competitions, applying to different competitions, and I have literally got a list here of the ones to apply to, most of which I didn't get shortlisted or anything, but I think it's still good to just try and get yourself out there. I was lucky enough to get shortlisted into the Explorers for Extinction Sketch for Survival exhibition and be part of that amazing exhibition and like fundraising for conservation. And also the Green and Stone Gallery summer exhibition for the second year running, which is amazing. So they were two like successes of this year, even though the others didn't really go to plan. The next thing I put was prints, which was a huge thing that I wanted to kind of push this year, which I feel like I did for the first 6 months of 2024. And then for the back end of the year, it kind of dropped off again. I feel like I was creating so much work that I didn't have time to sit down and start colour matching everything. It just seems like such a huge job. I feel like if I just start scanning things in, maybe 1 or 2 a week, colour matching, which is the biggest job, deciding on what size to print them, photograph them, start uploading them to my website shop and adding in all the descriptions and everything like that. If I do like 2 a week, then that's 8 in a month. And yeah, I feel like if I look at it like that, it's actually a manageable task. It's just kind of getting everything out and changing the inks and getting the printer up and running. It just feels like a big task in my head when it actually isn't. This printer I got last Christmas, and it's the Canon Pro 300, and it's so good. Like the quality is just exceptional. Like it honestly looks better than the original. So I want to utilise it as much as I can and, you know, really push the prints this year. So I'm saying it on here because it holds me accountable then. So definitely prints. I feel like prints are just such a good idea as like a more affordable piece of your art that they can display in the home or give as a gift. It's not like a full-on original. And prints for an artist can be like a big chunk of their income. So if the quality's there and you market them right, I think prints can really help to support you as an artist. Also on my list of 2024 goals, along with prints, I put greetings cards and tags. I thought if I give myself like a week or so just to really figure out how my printer works and, you know, what it's capable of, what I can actually produce with my printer, whether that's greetings cards, tags, bookmarks. Like there's so many different settings on there. You can do loads. But the main thing was, in terms of like figuring out how it all works, was the print side of things. In terms of greetings cards, I've not released any new ones this year. Last year I released some new Christmas cards. I feel like Christmas is always a good time of year, obviously, to release greetings cards because you know that more than likely you'll sell quite a few of them. And obviously I didn't have my printer then, so I ordered them and got them printed from somewhere else and got them delivered. But I feel like if you don't order cards in bulk, they're actually quite expensive and not that profitable, so it's not really worth doing in terms of your time. I feel like your time could be spent doing so many other productive, more profitable things if you're really trying to kind of grow your business. I think if you look at greetings cards from a business standpoint, just like the prints, people have that little piece of your art in your home, and it's same with greetings cards, and you don't know who's going to be going to the house and seeing your work, and they might think, oh, who's done that? Is that been drawn by someone? And then they see your name on the back, They might reach out to you via your website and either book in a commission or look at your prints or originals. Like, you just never know who's going to see your work, and cards are a lot more accessible and affordable for people. But at the same time, it doesn't show the extent of like the detail or the quality necessarily of your work. And I think you either pay loads to get them printed and delivered from elsewhere, or you print them yourself and you're paying for inks, paper, and sacrificing so much of your time basically to print card orders on demand. And you might get into the rhythm of it, and you know, it could be quick, but I just think it's almost a lot of effort for very little return when it comes to greetings cards. And same with like tags and stuff. But like I said, it is really nice for people to have that little piece of your art. And I don't know, people like doing greetings cards. It's completely up to you. But I've just kind of steered away from them this year, really, just because they weren't that profitable. The next thing I've put down here is find somewhere that will be perfect for a workshop. So at the start of the year, I started emailing loads of different venues and kind of reaching out to different places to see if they'd be interested in me putting on a workshop. A lot of places were like way out of budget, because I kind of went for places near me in the countryside that are basically wedding venues. So typically they don't really do art workshops. It was kind of a one-off. But anyway, I found Stanley House Hotel and Spa, which is where I did my workshop a few months ago. I think it was in October, which went really well. So I'm hoping to do another one there in the next few months. I've had a few people asking about that specific location again, like people that are more local to sort of Lancashire. And now that I've done it there, I know what equipment they've got. I know how it'll all work. I know costs and prices, and more of like how to put on your own event, how to market it. And then obviously I've got all my photos and videos from the workshop that I did, so I can use that to kind of promote the next one. The next thing I put down was focus more on TikTok, do day in the lives, mini vlogs and carousels, and do videos where I'm teaching certain techniques to promote my Patreon. I feel like that's something that I'm going to definitely do this year. Whether I did that or not in 2024, don't think I focused on that too much really. Whatever I kind of post on Instagram, I just post the same thing on TikTok. Usually it's just drawing process videos or some kind of behind the scenes in the studio type videos, but I didn't really teach any techniques as like a short form video. All my teaching stuff is predominantly on Patreon. And same with the day in the lives. I feel like when I'm preparing for a workshop or the workshop that I did, I got a lot of footage from that which I could make into a reel. But in terms of day in the life, I suppose I could get a range of videos and kind of piece them all together to make some short, like day in the life vlogs. I know a lot of you like my longer form artist vlogs on YouTube, and I think mini short form vlogs or day in the lives would be quite interesting and more engaging to watch as a short form video on TikTok. I know that I like watching them kind of videos, so maybe I should focus more on that this year, because I feel like people are definitely gravitating more towards TikTok as well. Another thing I wrote down here was start an artist of the month for Patreon. I did actually start that a few months ago. So basically once every month or once every few months, I select one of my patrons to be my artist of the month. And I basically do a post dedicated to them, sharing their work on my social media and on Patreon and on our private Patreon member Facebook group as well. I feel like it's a nice way for them to get exposure and for other patrons to get to know them and feel like they're more part of a community, and also kind of get that recognition, because so many people on Patreon start off like either not having a clue how to draw or just wanting to start a new hobby, and then after a few months the work, like you can literally see the work getting better and better and better with every drawing that they do. And they keep posting it in the community chat. And I'm just like, that is literally crazy that you've managed to do that from like watching my tutorials and picking up different techniques and practicing. It's just like really rewarding as a teacher, but it's also nice to give them that recognition of like, you know, you're working really hard and you're building up a brand new skill. So yeah, that's another thing that I'd like to take into 2025. Keep going on with the artist of the month on Patreon. Another thing I put was set up a subscription and do more talking videos on Instagram. So I think Instagram still has like an exclusive subscription where your followers can pay to get access to more posts and like behind the scenes stuff. It's something that I thought about setting up earlier this year, but then never got around to it because it just wasn't really a priority. I think social media is such a huge chunk of what I do anyway, in terms of posting all the time and just creating content and editing, that I think to set up another thing to start juggling as well as everything else, I don't know if I'd be kind of spreading myself too thin. If people are actually paying to get extra content, I'd want to give them like regular behind the scenes updated posts and stuff, and I don't think I'll be able to do that with everything that I've got going on so far. But we'll see, because if I do end up cutting down on commissions this year, I mean, I already haven't been booking in as many people. I've been kind of spreading out my commissions over the year, so I have more time each month to spend on all these other things that have been on my to-do list for literally a year, some even longer. I've got like other little bits of stuff, but they all kind of tie into different topics that I've already spoken about, like bits to do with my website and podcast, updating Etsy, updating Patreon, just little bits of stuff like that. But the last thing I put was plan an ebook, which I feel like I've done with tutorials to keep. Tutorials to keep I didn't even think about at the start of 2024. And in a way, every single tutorial to keep that I put on my website is an ebook, because it's in that format anyway, with all the links to the videos and materials lists and everything like that. So I guess I've not made like one ebook this year, I've made about 10. All of my tutorials to keep have been taken from Patreon, so they're kind of more aimed for people who don't want the subscription of Patreon, but would just rather buy like that one-off tutorial or a couple of tutorials here and there when it suits them, and then they've got access to that for life. So if they want to do it more than once and kind of practice and get better, then they can do. So they're like my main things when it comes to my 2024 goals. I feel like I've achieved most of them. Obviously, my main thing as well was to put on my own workshop and plan it all and market it all myself, which I did in October. And I also wanted to get 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, which I managed to achieve just before Christmas. So thank you so much for that. So as this is the 1st of January, looking back on all these goals, I'm really going to have a think about what I want to kind of prioritise for this year. And I actually bought this planner the other day, which arrived a few days ago. It's the 2025 Diary by Grace Beverley. If you don't know who Grace Beverley is, she's got a podcast. She's a really successful like young entrepreneur. She's got a clothing brand as well. She's just got a lot going on, but this is honestly amazing. I've not filled any of it out yet, but I'll leave a link to this in the description below, because honestly it's so good. It's quite thick. I've never had anything this in-depth before. Usually I'll just go for a basic like weekly planner. I've tried digital planners before, but they just don't really work for me. Like, I need to see it. As soon as I come into my studio, I need to just look at what I've got to do. I need to physically cross things out. I like to-do lists and I like physically writing things down. So this is literally perfect for me. And at the start of this planner, it breaks down all the months, like main key dates to remember. If you're watching this on YouTube, then obviously you can see the pages, but I'll try and describe them anyway for anyone that's listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It's also got a mind map, like a 2025 vision map. And all of these are separated into different sections. So we've got career goals, attitude and mindset, health, finances, relationships, personal intentions and development. And I feel like it's just a nice way to structure what you're doing and get all your thoughts out onto paper. And even if you never look at this again until the end of the year, it's nice to kind of see how much you've achieved and go back and have a look at what you wrote at the start of the year. It's even got a section that's like a bucket list, location, how you're going to achieve it, target date, budget, and then it's got personal intentions for the year. I want to start, ... I want to learn, ... I want to try, I want to continue, I want to stop, I want to be. And exactly the same for career intentions for the year. And then it starts with January, gives you a nice motivational quote, and then your top 3 goals for personal goals and career goals for the month of January, like your top priorities, reminders. And then one thing that I've tried before but never really stuck to is time stamping my days. This is quite heavy to hold up, but every single day of the week, it's literally listed every single hour of the day, so you can structure your workload a bit easier. Because I think as an artist especially, it's very easy to get carried away with a commission and you end up, you know, getting into the drawing zone and you work for an extra like 2 hours, when actually you should have been prioritizing like getting back to your emails or doing something that was a bit more important for that day. So I feel like this will hopefully keep me a bit more on track with that. But yeah, I just really love how it's structured. So I'll leave the link to this in the description below. It's just so in depth and I've been dying to start filling this out. So that's this afternoon's job. I think they also have a thinner one that's called the Planner. This is the 2025 Diary, which is slightly thicker. but they also have a planner, which is very similar. It's got some of the same pages, but it is slightly thinner. It's not as in-depth. So I'll try and leave the link to both actually in case you're interested in that. So that's Grace Beverley's The Productivity Method 2025 diary. I hope you all had a really nice Christmas and New Year's Eve and a few days off work, hopefully. Hope you're feeling refreshed and motivated for 2025. I feel like if you plan these things at the start and you go into a brand new year with like a fresh mindset, you're fully motivated, you know what you're aiming for, then you're more likely to achieve your goals and do even better than you did the year before. So yeah, let's hope 2025 is the best one yet. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I thought I'd keep it a little bit shorter just to kind of ease back into the podcast episode, seeing as I've had a bit of a break over Christmas. If you've been watching on YouTube, then please give it a like and subscribe to my channel to see more art related content, future episodes and future artist vlogs. And if you've been listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, then I'd love it if you could share the episode, leave a review, and yeah, everything helps. Remember to check out this 2025 diary in the description below. I'm literally going to fill mine out now and spend a good hour or so really thinking about what I want to achieve this year. And yeah, hope you all have a really good rest of the day, and I'll be back next week with a brand new episode.